Welcome, friends. This is A Course in Miracles Palm Beach Study Group. Tonight we're in Chapter 10, Section 5, The Denial of God. In the book, it's in the text on page 189. The rituals of the god of sickness are strange and very demanding. Joy is never permitted, or depression is the sign of allegiance to him. Depression means that you have forsworn God. Many are afraid of blasphemy, but they do not understand what it means. They do not realize that to deny God is to deny their own identity. And in this sense, the wages of sin is death. The sense is very literal. Denial of life perceives its opposite, as all forms of denial replace what it is with what is not. No one can really do this, but you think you can, but that you can think you can and believe you have is beyond dispute. Sorry about that. Let me go over this. Sentence 6. The sense is very literal. Denial of life perceives its opposite, as all forms of denial place what is with what is not. No one can really do this, but that you think you can and believe you have is beyond dispute. So the rituals of the god of sickness, that of course is the ego, and they're very strange and demanding, those rituals. Joy is never permitted in the ego, but depression is a sign of allegiance to the ego. And depression means that you have forsworn God. Many are afraid of blasphemy, but they don't understand what it means. They do not realize that to deny God is to deny their own reality. If you deny God, you're only denying yourself, because you are the Son of God. And so to deny God, you deny yourself. There's only one of us, and we are one with our Father. And in this sense, the wages of sin is death. Wages of sin would be the ego thinking of sickness. And that is death in terms of that, you've given up your understanding that you are the Son of God, so you might as well be dead. And you're replacing what is, in other words, spirit, with what is not, which is ego. And even though you can't really do this is all happening in the dream, in the illusion. It's not real, but it's in your mind. If this is the way you're thinking, it's in your mind. And that you can think this and believe it, that's beyond dispute. I mean, there's just so many people who think wrongly in this fashion. Any questions, comments? In paragraph 2, do not forget, however, that to deny God will inevitably result in projection, and you will believe that others, and not yourself, have done this to you. You must receive the message you give because it is the message you want. You may believe that you judge your brothers by the messages they give you, but you have judged them by the message you gave to them. Do not attribute your denial of joy to them, or you cannot see the spark in them that would bring joy to you. It is the denial of the spark that brings depression. For whenever you see your brothers without it, you are denying God. So basically, the first paragraph said, if we don't understand that we are the Son of God, then we're denying God. And the second paragraph is simply saying, if you don't understand that your brother is also the Son of God, then you're denying God. And by doing this, you're creating the sickness, you're creating the ego. So don't blame anybody else for it. It's all you're doing. You're doing it. You're thinking it. David?
I always have trouble with different times in my life with joy. And lately I've asked my wife, do I seem depressed? And she says no, but there's a dullness. And at the same time, I'm depressed. I don't come to joy very easily, and I'm always seem to be confused there, especially when it comes to joy. I think in the past you said that joy is when I'm in spirit, and I think that's what this is saying. The depression is not embracing the God in others, or just embracing God.
Well, again, we have to define joy as spirit. Joy is synonymous with spirit. And it's not the joy of jumping up and down, yay, yay, happy, happy, let's dance. I mean, that's human joy. That's the spiritual joy is actually very quiet. Spiritual joy is serenity, is like sitting there in meditation with your eyes closed and this little smile on your mouth. You're just feeling very peaceful. You're feeling very serene. That's the joy of spirit, So let's not confuse the ego definition of joy, happy, 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 with the spiritual definition of joy. And also, we are still in the ego, and we are still living in the body. And especially as we get older and the body does start breaking down, because the body is temporal, it is ego, and it will die. And, people have low blood sugar, people have different things that are affecting the body as they grow older and all. And so don't confuse just a physical, being tired or something with not having spiritual joy. You can be real depression is like, I want to kill myself. if that's the kind of progression you're having, well, then you are in trouble. But if it's just a lethargy, I don't feel like I'm just going to sit here. I'm not jumping for joy. Well, I wouldn't worry about that. I don't
I
know.
guess,
Does that help at all?
yes, but I was just thinking that I'm at a point that I'm looking to find my purpose in life again, in a different way. And that could be, because I know when I'm working with people, I feel more joy when I'm helping people.
Yes. Okay. That's a spiritual joy. Yeah.
And people say I'm a peaceful person. I'm thinking maybe I'm getting confused with depression and peacefulness. I'm not really sure.
Well, that could be too. Yes. Yeah. Shall we go on?
Go for it.
All right.
I just have to, I'd like to say something about the projection.
Yes.
So that really strikes home, that to deny God will inevitably result in projection, and you will believe that others and not yourself have done this to you. So we're
Right.
doing it to ourselves.
Yes. Whatever we do, we're doing to ourselves. Whatever you do unto others, you do unto yourself.
And then when it goes down to the joy, do not attribute your denial of joy to them. So after attribute, so there's a denial of self. Is that being having denied yourself? Therefore,
Yeah,
not to experience the joy.
Joy is a code word for spirit. So you could read this as, do not attribute your denial of spirit to them.
Okay. And if I do, or if you cannot see the spark in them, that would bring the joy to you.
Right.
So,
When you see the spirit in others,
right.
that brings you the understanding of the spirit within yourself, because you are them, they are you.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Again, think of that. It's a well-known phrase: "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you." But I'm rephrasing that. I'm saying, what you do unto others, you do unto you. Whatever you do comes back to you. That's because whatever you do unto others, you do unto you, because they are you. You are them, because in spirit, there's only one of us. And that's a really, really key concept that this course is teaching, and that is most important that we get through our thick ego skulls, is that we realize that there's only one of us. What we do unto others, we do unto ourselves. Paragraph 3. Allegiance to the denial of God is the ego's religion. The God of sickness obviously demands the denial of health, because health is in direct opposition to its own survival. But consider what this means to you. Unless you are sick, you cannot keep the gods you made, for only in sickness could you possibly want them. Blasphemy, then, is self-destructive, not God-destructive. It means that you are willing not to know yourself in order to be sick. This is the offering your God demands because, having made him out of your insanity, he is an insane idea. He has many forms, but although he may seem to be many different things, he is but one idea, the denial of God. So to rephrase that whole paragraph, allegiance to the ego is the ego's religion. The ego obviously demands the denial of health because health is in direct opposition to the ego's survival. But consider what this means to you. Unless you are stuck in ego, you cannot keep the ego God that you made. For only in sickness could you possibly want ego. Blasphemy, then, is self-destructive, not God-destructive. It means that you are willing not to know yourself in order to maintain the ego. This is the offering your ego God demands, because having made the ego out of your insanity, the ego is an insane idea. The ego has many forms, but although it may seem to be many different things, the ego is but one idea, the denial of God. Any questions, comments? Number 4, sickness and death seemed to enter the mind of God's Son against his will. The attack on God made his Son think he was fatherless, and out of his depression, he made the God of depression. This was his alternative to joy, because he would not accept the fact that, although he was a creator, he had been created. Yet the Son is helpless without the Father, who alone is his help. So we are the Son of God, and as God is a creator, so too are we. We share those properties with our Father. We also are creators. But because we thought we could separate ourselves from God, we wound up creating the ego out of the depression of thinking we were fatherless. But it's all just a dream. It's all just an illusion. The book has told us over and over and over again that none of that is true. It's just the dream world that we're in. We'll eventually wake up, and then we'll realize, oh, I was just dreaming. And that's what we're in the process of doing now. We're in the process of waking up. Any questions, comments?
As you were
Go ahead.
as you were reading that, I was thinking about awake people. There's very few people that I know are And sometimes it's confusing for me, just, I kind of accept the illusion. And I think that maybe what I'm doing isn't correct. Maybe I'm not, or I imagine myself as awake and I'm not awake. Maybe I'm an ego. Out of about 500 people, acquaintances that I know, I would say about 4 or 5 of them maybe that come to mind that are awake. And that's one of the things that's depressing, thinking that we have a long ways to go. There's a lot that has to be done.
I'm going to suggest don't think of it in terms of opposites. You're either asleep or awake, because the reality of it is it's a long spectrum. It's a continuum. Everybody's on that continuum to one degree or another. It's percentages. Some people are 50-50. Some people are 40-50. Some people are 50-40. I mean, 60-40. What I said before, 40-60, 60-40. You're on the continuum. Some people are 90% awake, but there's still that 10% that they're trying to work out of. Other people are only 10% awake and they've got 90% to go. So we're all on this, we're all on the path, but we're all at different levels on the path. So just try not to judge, including not to judge yourself. Just accept yourself as being, I'm on the path. I know I'm not 100% yet, because if I was, I wouldn't even be here anymore. But I'm on the path, so I'll just keep going. And does it matter if I'm at 40% or if I'm at 50% or if I'm at 60%? Or no, it doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm on the path. So don't be too hard on yourself.
Well, I had some encouraging noise and news this morning. Somebody called up. It said something I said to her 2 weeks ago helped her to change the way she thinks. And I wasn't even aware I said anything, but obviously meant something to her that it's encouraging.
Great.
When feedback like that.
Yes. So again, just have faith and know that you're on the path. Helen.
Well, I did want to say, speak to that, if you don't mind, David.
Well, go ahead.
Because that statement pointing out so many people are not on the path seems to me that you would be in a state of projection. You are projecting that onto other people. And so,
right.
and my question is, why? My question is, like John is saying, that why be that? Why let that be the focus? The focus is, I am on the path. And people that I meet on the path with me, the focus being what you are rather than what other people are. Because when one goes into what other people are, that's in a state of projection. I don't mean to get that personal with you, but I just wonder about that.
It's okay. We are one.
Isn't that a song?
It is. What's a guy that died? He sang about oneness. Black man with a.
Yeah,
Bob
Bob
Marley.
Bob Marley. Yes. Thank you for your comments, Helen.
Thank you.
All righty then. So we're on paragraph 5. I said before that of yourself you can do nothing, but you are not of yourself. If you were, what you have made would be true, and you could never escape. It is because you did not make yourself that you need be troubled over nothing. Your gods are nothing, because your Father did not create them. If you cannot make creators who are unlike your Creator any more than he could have created a son who was unlike him. If creation is sharing, it cannot create what is unlike itself. It can only share what it is. Depression is isolation, and so it could not have been created. So, if God created the ego, we really would be damned. But he didn't. But he did create us. And so we are very much not damned. So don't be troubled over nothing. Remember, the ego is just a dream. The ego is just an illusion. It's a nothingness. And although you may feel plagued by it at times, just keep that thought in mind and just, don't fight it. Just let it go. Just let it go. The best that you can. It gets easier with time. Paragraph 6. Son of God, you have not sinned, but you have been much mistaken. Yet this can be corrected, and God will help you, knowing that you could not sin against him. You denied him because you loved him, knowing that if you recognize your love for him, you could not deny him. Your denial of him, therefore, means that you love him and that you know he loves you. Remember that what you deny, you must have once known. And if you accept denial, you can accept its undoing. So even though we denied God and created the ego, from God's point of view, that just didn't happen. I love that first sentence. Son of God, you have not sinned, but you have been much mistaken. So just accept it for the mistake you made and learn from your mistake and go on and do better. And the mistake can be corrected, and God will help us correct that mistake, and is helping us. He's helping us by giving us this course, among many, many other ways. And then, paragraph 7, your Father has not denied you. And that's the really important thing. Your Father has not denied you. He does not retaliate, but he does call you to return. When you think he has not answered your call, you have not answered his. He calls to you from every part of the sonship because of his love for his son. If you hear his message, he has answered you. And you will learn of him if you hear aright. The love of God is in everything he created, for his Son is everywhere. Look with peace upon your brothers, and God will come rushing into your heart in gratitude for your gift to him. That's a really beautiful paragraph.
I agree with that, John.
Any questions? Number 8. Do not look to the God of sickness for healing, but only to the God of love, where healing is the acknowledgement of him. When you acknowledge him, you will know that he has never ceased to acknowledge you, and that in his acknowledgement of you lies your being. You are not sick and you cannot die, but you can confuse yourself with things that do. Remember, though, that to do this is blasphemy, for it means that you are looking without love on God and his creation, from which he cannot be separated. David, did you want to say something?
Earlier, let me see. Oh, what's the connection between joy and peace? I was looking at line 7, that popped into my mind.
Look with peace upon your brothers, and God will come rushing into your heart in gratitude for your gift to him.
Yeah, actually, gratitude and peace and joy. Kind of joy. You said it was. What's the other word for joy?
You're kind of over analyzing it, because all of these words are really synonymous. Spiritual peace is spiritual joy, is gratitude. I mean, if you're in a state of joy, you're in a state of peace, you're in a state of gratitude, and vice versa. You know, if you're in the truth, then you're in the joy, and you're in the peace, and you're in the gratitude, and you're in the love. So from a spiritual point of view, all of these words are really synonymous. They're all just expressing different ways of expressing the spirit.
And another word I've been tripping over lately is I've been writing about it on Facebook a little bit. Forgiveness. I find myself trying to forgive, but forgiveness runs away when I try to forgive. I still hold, not forgiving someone for many years now, and I decided I was going to forgive them. And when I talked to them, I felt disconnected from this person.
It's something that you have to do in your mind and in your heart, the forgiveness. You may not be able to communicate that physically, although you may, but it has to start within your mind. When you think of that person as the Son of God. Think of that person as being whole. Think of that person as being equal unto yourself. think of that person and say, I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you. It has to start with mentally. It has to happen in your mind before any possibility of the physical forgiveness can outpicture. We create with our minds, we create with our thoughts. Does that help?
Yes, I think I know that, but for example, this woman's daughter, I knew the daughter when she was a little baby, and I saw her grow up, and she's taken on her mother's personality, which is kind of hurtful. So I feel anger and hurt against the mother because she brought up her daughter that way.
You have to forgive those feelings within yourself.
Yeah.
You're
I tried sending love to them, and basically what I ended up doing is I took them off of Facebook, and I don't answer their calls anymore because the relationship seems very hollow. I guess it always has.
I don't know how to advise you about that. I mean,
Just listen.
I'm just listening. All right, then.
I just wanted to say, I wonder, I don't know if I'm way off base here, but I wonder if you're feeling you're in denial. You're being denied of love of yourself, because it says that's what it goes back to, the first chapter, the first paragraph of this chapter.
I feel love.
You do feel the denial?
I'm not sure what that means. What am I denying?
You're being denied, you're denying yourself of love.
Because I guess, yeah, because I'm still angry and feel hurt by something she did.
Yes, because that's judgmental.
Okay. I think I'm using good judgment.
Yeah, no, Helen has a point there, you know. If you're feeling angry, that's your feeling. You're projecting that onto her because of something she did in the past, but it's still your feeling. And so if you're denying yourself the love by maintaining the anger in your feelings towards her, and it goes round and around because it's all connected.
Yeah, I guess
So I don't know, David, the sense is very little. Denying of life perceives its opposite. All forms of denial replace what is with what is not. I read that poorly, but no one can really do this, but that you can think you can and believe has gone beyond dispute. Go back and read that first paragraph for yourself if you wish, but because I think there's something in there to what you're talking about when you have a chance. I don't know. What do you think, John?
I agree with you.
Okay.
You're talking about, denial of God 1?
Yeah, the first paragraph of this chapter that we're
That
reading.
we read.
Well, we need to go on.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
I'm creating the separation.
yes, you are. That's what I'm saying. Paragraph 10. Only the eternal can be loved, for love does not die. What is of God is his forever, and you are of God. Would he allow himself to suffer? And would he offer his son anything that is not acceptable to him? If you will accept yourself as God created you, you will be incapable of suffering. Yet to do this, you must acknowledge him as your creator. This is not because you will be punished otherwise. It is merely because your acknowledgement of your Father is the acknowledgement of yourself as you are. Your Father created you holy without sin, holy without pain, and holy without suffering of any kind. If you deny him, you bring sin, pain, and suffering into your own mind because of the power he gave it. Your mind is capable of creating worlds, but it can also deny what it creates because it is free. You do not realize how much you have denied yourself and how much God, in his love, would not have it so. Yet he would not interfere with you because he would not know his son if he were not free. To interfere with you would be to attack himself, and God is not insane. When you deny him, you are insane. Would you have him share your insanity? God will never cease to love his son, and his son will never cease to love him. That was the condition of his son's creation, fixed forever in the mind of God. To know that is sanity. To deny it is insanity. God gave himself to you in your creation, and his gifts are eternal. Would you deny yourself to him? Out of your gifts to him, the kingdom will be restored to his son. His son removed himself from his gift by refusing to accept what had been created for him. And while he had created in the nature of his Father, and what he had created in the nature of his Father, heaven awaits for his return, for it was created as the dwelling place of God's Son. You are not at home anywhere else or in any other condition. Do not deny yourself the joy that was created for you, or the misery you have made for yourself. God has given you the means for undoing what you have made. Listen, and you will learn how to remember what you are. So God created us with free will, which is why he will not interfere and force us to accept him. He won't force us back into heaven. We have free will, and we have to make that decision for ourselves. But to go back over paragraph 10 again, out of your gifts to him, the kingdom will be restored to you. You removed yourself from his gift by refusing to accept what had been created for you. And what you had created in the name of your Father. Heaven waits for your return, for it was created as the dwelling place of you. It was created as your dwelling place. You are not at home anywhere else or in any other condition. Do not deny yourself the joy that was created for you, for the misery, for the ego that you made for yourself. God has given you the means for undoing what you have made. Listen, and you will learn how to remember what you are. What we're listening for is the voice of God that is within us, which is the Holy Spirit. And all that we need to do is remember. Remember earlier it said of yourself you can do nothing. All that we can do is remember what we are, meaning remember that we're spiritual beings. If we remember that, we're home free. Paragraph 12. If God knows his children as wholly sinless, it is blasphemous to perceive them as guilty. If God knows his children as wholly without pain, it is blasphemous to perceive suffering anywhere. If God knows his children to be wholly joyous, it is blasphemous to feel depressed. All of these illusions and the many other forms that blasphemy may take are refusals to accept creation as it is. If God created his Son perfect, that is how you must learn to see him, to learn of his reality. As part of the sonship, that is how you must see yourself to learn of yours. You must learn to see yourself as wholly sinless. You must learn to see yourself as without guilt, without pain, without suffering. You must learn to see yourself as joyous. That's how God made you. That's how you must see yourself. Helen?
Yeah, that paragraph is so powerful to me. If God created his Son perfect, that is how you must learn to see him, to learn of his reality. And as part of the sonship, that is how you must see yourself to learn of others.
To learn
So
of
we must find ways to see the love in every single situation that God has created, whatever it may be. Powerful to
well,
me.
it's
That's very
seeing love in all of your brothers.
in all, yes, yes.
Well, because you said situations. Most of what we perceive in the world are ego perceptions, the situations, all the natural disasters, all the politics, all of
Absolutely.
the murders, the killing, all of this, those are all ego creations. But what we do see are people. It's the sonship. That's what we must see as perfect. We must see everybody else and ourselves as the perfect children of God.
Yes, yes. And the key here, I think, is to learn, that for some reason strikes a chord with me. Because I don't, yeah.
Well, the key says in paragraph 12, sentence 7, listen and you will remember and you will learn how to remember what you are. That's the key, remembering what we are.
Very good point. Very good. Thank you, John.
You're welcome. We've got 2 paragraphs to go. Number 13. Do not perceive anything God did not create, or you are denying him. He is the only fatherhood, and it is yours only because he has given it to you. Your gifts to yourself are meaningless, but your gifts to your creations are like his, because they are given in his name. That is why your creations are as real as his. Yet the real fatherhood must be acknowledged if the Son is to be known. You believe that the sick things you have made are your real creations, because you believe that the sick images you perceive are the sons of God. Only if you accept the fatherhood of God will you have anything, because his fathership, his fatherhood gave you everything. That is why to deny him is to deny yourself. So when we see our brothers as sick, we're denying God because we're seeing their ego selves. And the last paragraph, 14, arrogance is the denial of love. Because love shares and arrogance withholds. As long as both appear to you to be desirable, the concept of choice, which is not of God, will remain with you. While this is not true in eternity, it is true in time. So that while time lasts in your mind, there will be choices. Time itself is your choice. If you would remember eternity, you must look only on the eternal. If you allow yourself to become preoccupied with the temporal, you are living in time. As always, your choice is determined by what you value. Time and eternity cannot both be real because they contradict each other. If you will accept only what is timeless as real, you will begin to understand eternity and make it yours. Well, this whole concept of time came up in this very last paragraph. So, while time lasts in your mind, there will be choices. Time itself is your choice. If you would remember eternity, You must look only on the eternal. If you allow yourself to become preoccupied with the temporal, you are living in time. And how many of us are preoccupied with the temporal?
Yeah.
I mean, how many people, have to watch the news every day to see what's happening? They have to check the weather every day to see what's happening. They're so involved in what's happening, and they're so preoccupied with the temporal. Everybody's living in time, and what we're being told here is that we have free will. We have the choice. We can look at everything as eternal instead of living in the temporal. And time and eternity cannot both be real. They contradict each other. So if you will accept only what is timeless as real, you will begin to understand eternity and make it yours. David?
Time creates anxiety.
Yeah, it does. Helen?
Yes, that last piece really helped me a lot. I've been feeling ill-willed towards a particular person, and when I read that paragraph, because I understand what I was doing was I was being in time rather than eternal, and I felt hurt because I did that to that person without her even knowing it, and to myself as well. So it really helped me a lot.
Very good. Thank you for sharing. Any last comments, David? Or Helen?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you, John.
All righty. Our hour is up. Let's have a moment of silence and we'll stop the recording.